Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Geoff, Mosher, Adam, Caplan here for a huge Inside the Birds podcast. We're going to preview the NFC Championship game Sunday between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed. I don't think that anybody can argue, Adam, that these aren't the two best teams in the NFC. I like an occasional upset in the playoffs. You know, we've seen that throughout the years. I also sometimes like it when the two best teams get to duke it out. So I kind of, the way the playoffs were this year, where some kind of teams like the Giants and the Seahawks make it in, I'm happy to see the top two teams duking it out.
Yeah, and I wanted not only did I want the Eagles to beat Dallas for obvious reasons if you grew up here, but not that we're cheering, but I just wanted to see the two best teams as you set it up. That's really what I was hoping for. And it's a fun game. The weather right now, Friday morning, looks like the rain will hold off at least during the game. The weather's going to be high 40s, low 50s, which is crazy for this time of year. It is what it is right now. Again, obviously forecasts could change, but we've got not quite your football weather. We actually have throwing conditions, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I only chuckled because it feels like that might be the only day in the last, I don't know, 10 days where you're not getting a little bit of rain. It's just been way too much rain lately.
Yeah, sure.
It's very dreary. All right. So yeah, I look forward to breaking down this game. And of course, we're going to break it down on Sunday morning in our normal Inside the Birds pregame live slot at Rivers Casino from 10 a.m. till noon. Same cast of characters, me, Adam, Jason Avonte, Greg Cosell. I hope you guys all caught the one against the Giants, because at the end of the show, everybody looked at each other and were like, wow, that, because we watch other shows, we listen what's out there, and I just don't think anybody really breaks down the game as intensively as we do to really give listeners and readers and viewers, I shouldn't say readers, viewers, a chance to really get an understanding of the game within the game. And I don't know. I mean, the way Greg and Jason do it, sometimes you and I are just like ready to make some popcorn.
I know.
I'm a kind of ball.
I would tell you, I don't think there's quite. I've seen everything else on television and on the internet. There's nothing like this in television. Nothing.
Agreed.
The only show that came close was the NFL Insider show I was on, or was it True Insider show? This is really the only Insider show that I know of that has former players, a film expert like Greg, reporters who cover the league, cover the team, and whatever the case may be. It's just, and there's no fluff, there's no nonsense. We're not reading a bunch of stats. We're going to give you, we use them occasionally when we think it's appropriate, but we want you to learn the game with stuff that you can't find anywhere. That's the true essence of what we've done for 5 years. We're proud of it, and we appreciate everybody's support, because the numbers support it. My goodness gracious, the numbers we're getting are they're monstrous, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. It's been overwhelming. We appreciate the comments and all that. It's awesome. And look, without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then I love Inside the Birds post-game live with Trey Thomas, you and I and Trey. Post-game live, because that's right after the game, and it'll be right after this game on Sunday, 6:15, 6:30-ish, we imagine. We'll have it all out there. But post-game is great because you get more of an instantaneous reaction to a game without really seeing the hard copy, seeing the tape. So you kind of got to go off your gut, how you feel about momentum swings and coaching decisions. And Trey's really good at that, keeping a level head and really being able to examine things that happen. So,
on that, he catches stuff, though it's from TV. Because he played the position, so he'll go. You could tell. I know ex-players can do this, even if it's TV copy. They could see certain tells, like you watch it. Okay, that's a bet. I don't like the way he leaned into it. Whatever the case may be, he's really great right after the game, because he's watching. He's like, he obviously has notes, because he'll list the stuff that he didn't like. It's really cool. It's great to get that instant feedback. But I'll tell you what, the really cool thing is, Geoff and I were working on something pretty significant for our platform to get a former player who played in the Super Bowl in 2017, and we got one. Guy's not done a lot of interviews locally. In fact, I can't remember the last time I've seen him do one. That's former Eagles receiver Torrey Smith did our ITB TV on Thursday afternoon. It was off the hook great.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought he broke down the game really well. So you should all check it out. Really balanced. Although he did say, he's rooting for the Eagles. He played for both franchises. I think people forget that after his 1 year with the Eagles, I believe he was traded to the Panthers in the offseason. And then after that, he went to no, I'm sorry. He had played with San Francisco before coming to the Eagles.
Yes, it was just
Right.
it was the Niners. He also I didn't bring it up, but he played for Chip Kelly,
Right.
and then uh, he moved on to the Eagles for 1 year, and then he finished his career with the Niners in Panthers in 2018.
Right.
But and he signed a monster deal with the Niners. And in fact, 1 year, though he didn't have a lot of catches, he averaged over 20.1 yards, averaged over 20 yards per catch. And you know what his deal was. And funny, you beat me to it. We don't want to give it away, but let's just say this: we talked about the flea flicker play in the NFC Championship game, and the way he detailed it was great. It was really cool the way that he explained kind of what they were going through to get the play in, and just how it broke down, and some of the other things that went on in the play.
Yeah, who knew there was a plot twist in that play?
Yes,
it just seemed when it happened, it seemed like they drew it up that way.
It's so funny, just like you said. It's just so funny how things work out. Yeah, it was basically 30 minutes right on the dot, and it's available on every platform that we have. So we hope you guys see it.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that to let people know, because somebody either messaged us or left a message for us saying that they appreciate and understand that we're doing the Patreon business now, and that our Patreon subscribers will get things that are different because they're paid subscribers. But the person who did it mentioned that, we now brought ITB TV to Patreon, which is not the case. We did an ITB TV last month also with N'Kobe Dean. That was for everybody. This one for Torrey Smith was everybody. What happened was, about a year or two ago, we did ITB TVs once a week on top of the podcast, and then we've grown. We get a lot of content. It's really hard to do a weekly ITB TV on top of the 3 podcasts, on top of the pregame show and the postgame show. So, but we try to get them when we can and when we find it to be really relevant. So we were happy to get N'Kobe Dean last month, thanks to our friends from Sky Motor Cars who made that happen. And Torrey Smith, we were just able to get. And even though it wasn't on my mind at the time, I had forgotten he had been a 49er. He wound up being the perfect person to have played for both franchises and give us an idea, because he follows both. The thing about his breakdown was you can tell that he pays attention to all the games for both teams. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with his analysis.
And remember that one of the big things when I told you this week, I said, "Hey, I'm going to try for Torrey Smith," and because he has this amazing career where he played with the 2 most unlikely Super Bowl MVPs in Joe Flacco and Nick Foles, and he saw it when Flacco in 2012 put the team on his back in the playoffs. Then he talked about Nick. He had the bird's eye view. I mean, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, and then the person who left the comment also mentioned how our Ask ITB live streams are now on Patreon and not for the public, but just to let everybody know.
Totally not true.
It's that's usually for us. That's an off-season thing when it's a little bit slower, or even if it's fat, if it's the draft and we know people have billions of questions, that we do more of those in the off-season. So we will do Ask ITB for the masses for free in the off season. And of course, we've been answering a question a week in our newsletter, which is free. You can just subscribe to it. Email us at insidethebirds@gmail.com. We can answer the question. So we are doing Ask ITB.
We get plenty of free stuff. Still. My goodness gracious. Yeah. There's some stuff that we should have done premium when we started. We were trying to figure out how to run our company.
Right.
And people would ask us certain things, and we can never get to them. We're like, look, if we're going to spend this amount of time doing things that are not really part of what we're doing, we're going to charge for it. And it's just we don't have so much time in the day.
Yep.
And based on our Patreon numbers, we appreciate it. People love it. So in fact, we might as well. Should we announce the other one? We got another Patreon thing coming later today, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for some people who listen to this, it may already be up, but for those the early birds, it might not be up yet. It is our interview with former Eagles President Joe Banner, who we have not had on in quite a while, and now seemed like a great time more than ever to catch up to him and sort of get his opinion on what's been going on with the Eagles, and then also sort of tap into his mindset back when the Eagles were going to championship games, what that preparation is
Oh,
like from his
yep,
standpoint. Yeah.
yep. In fact, he has such a he may be the only guy that I can remember doing this my time of covering the NFL who had the equal hand in personnel and the business side. And what we discussed with him is the challenge of trying to oversee both, because he had to do that. He really did. Plus contracts, he had final say on contracts, negotiations, so forth, and all those championship games and the challenges of what he had. And plus he and Mike Tannenbaum, the former Jets GM, they run the 33rd team, and we got into that a little bit. But yeah, it's phenomenal. Joe has such a unique insight of kind of how you build this thing. And he did talk about in this show about where they got the idea. It seems so obvious, but it really wasn't, because so many teams don't get it. Why did he decide to build through the trenches, up offensive, defensive lines? It seems so obvious now to everyone, but sure as hell's not been obvious to a lot of teams. So many teams are not good on both sides of the line. It's a reason why these teams don't get very far. And Joe and Jeff Lurie were, when they came in, they did studies. I know they had they hired MIT people or something like that. And we get into sort of where Joe's philosophy came in.
Absolutely. So it's good stuff. Always good to catch up with Joe. And you can check that out. To become a subscriber, it is patreon.com/InsideTheBirds. All right, let's get into some of the transactional news, some of the injury news first. One of the sort of under the radar transaction moves that doesn't matter that much for what's going on now, but offensive tackle Brett Toth, who I think he tore his ACL in the season finale in that
Dallas.
game where and against Dallas. This is last year.
In
where
fact,
Dallas played all its starters and the Eagles were resting guys for Tampa. Brett Toth played and tore his ACL.
Yeah, Toth and Tyree Jackson both tore their ACLs in that game, I believe.
So wait, hold on. Last time we talked about this guy, I thought you told me we've been pronouncing it wrong and that it's Toth.
I thought it was Toth, but then someone else told me it was Toth. So I don't know. Here's what I know. It's Toth.
Okay. We'll call him Brett.
Yeah, Brett Toth, whatever. Right. Brett T. Right.
So his practice.
I know it's Sipos. I know 3 people have told me the same. It's Sipos, not Sipos, and we've gotten it right for 9 months.
Yes, it took me a while. You had it right before me. I'm finally coming around.
It's a toughie because it's spelled Sipos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what happened is he had his practice squad. We talked about this last week. We thought this would happen, that he wouldn't be activated. Wednesday was by 4 p.m. Eastern was the time to activate him through the 21-day. And since they did not activate him, he's not eligible for the playoffs, and he'll be with the team in the offseason. And then we get to the injury updates, which are pretty interesting. Boy, the Niners, we'll get to the Niners too.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, the Niners like to find these guys are playing. Okay, I believe them, but they didn't really do much on Wednesday and Thursday.
A couple of them guys that did not. Right. Now for the Eagles, the situation looks pretty good as far as there's not a ton of guys injured. The ones who are injured, Lane Johnson has been limited so far. I imagine that's just them still trying to preserve him and get every rep possible 100%. for the game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Now, good news from Nick Sirianni, at least, and from what we know, Avonte Maddox was a limited participant listed as that Wednesday and then also Thursday. So he was able to get out there and do some things. Nick Sirianni said hopeful. I think we have to continue to see how this plays out, Friday and as we get a little closer, But that's hey, listen, we said this. They never put him on IR, which meant that there was a chance that they thought he could play in the NFC Championship game. So maybe things will trend that way.
Yeah, so a couple things we could add for our sourcing here. So number one, not that this is not source, but this is just to explain. There's a video out there from practicing that's not in teamwork. That the stuff that's out there has no indication that he'll play. Just so you're clear, I've seen like a lot of video. It's good that he's moving and he is running, we're told. What matters is, does he practice in team? If he doesn't practice team, he will not dress. So here's what we're told by one good, very strong source. Quote, he's training well, has a chance to play. Here's why I don't think people want to say he's going to play. And Sirianni really detailed this very well. It might have been Wednesday or maybe Monday. They wanted to see him stop, start, and run hard. And what he's really talking about in team part of practice, because you got to go against big time players because the Niners are big time players. You got to go against the guys you got to go against whoever the slot receiver will be, who's going to go up against in practice. Got to be able to do that. If he's a scout team player, he's not playing. If he's taking team reps, he's got a chance to play. And then now this is on, he might be able to play. They also have to see how he feels, because Sirianni did say he was going to do more on Thursday. So then, okay, he does that. Let's see. Today's Friday. Let's see what he does today. So it's definitely a possibility, but a lot of things have to happen, because remember now, if they win, they get the bye. They have to balance. We know, obviously, if they lose, they're done. But potentially having your full team for the Super Bowl, if they win, versus, okay, we talked about this last show, is 75% enough of Avonte Maddox? Like, where is he at? Can he do everything, and can he play a full game? I just don't see him having him play 20 snaps. Is that really worth it? Like, they have to look at, or can he play 50 snaps? They have to figure that out. That will ultimately decide whether he plays or not. I don't see him being a part-time player in this game. Either he could do his job or he can't. And that's
great point. Great point, because it has been 6 weeks. It will have been 6 weeks to the right, because didn't he get hurt against Chicago?
He got hurt in the same game.
I thought it was Chicago. Yeah, same game as Hurts.
Let me double check. What week was that?
I thought it was week 14.
15. It was week 15.
Week 15.
Yes.
So he's out week 16, 17.
He just came. Okay, let me see here. Maddox did play, you're correct, in the Chicago game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember, because he was playing well. And so if it's 16,
wait a minute. This is incredible. He played every snap in that game?
In the Bears game.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. Okay.
But he didn't play after that, right?
Week 16, they played the Cowpokes. I thought he got hurt in the Cowpokes game.
I'm sorry. You're correct. It's the Cowboys game. So yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it now.
Well, actually,
he played in the Dallas game. That's
he did. 16. He started. Yes, he started. Right. They came out in nickel.
So he missed 17. He missed 18. Missed the first round. Well, that was a bye.
They had a bye.
Second round game, the divisional game wasn't in, and then this would be 5 weeks on Sunday when they play. That's a long time to go, and it's not like he was out there practicing leading up to this. He's been limited the last few days. Now he might have been doing some running, but I know
he's running. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, he's running now, but I think as we were told as recently as last week, though, I don't think he was running at the beginning of the prior week.
It wasn't. Let's put it this way: what he did this week, he was not doing last week. Whatever that entailed, how hard he pushed that toe. Now you noted 4 weeks ago that he had surgery, some sort of procedure. He's just got to overcome a lot. We're going to work on. We had some good Lane Johnson stuff for our last game, like literally an hour before the game started, or 2 hours before we did our pregame show. We found out some stuff. Lane found a way to manipulate his body through practice, and sure as hell happened during the game. I don't know how the guy does it. This one, but that's a groin injury. And by the way, Torrey Smith told us he had the same injury, and you'll hear him talk about that in our ITV TV. It was phenomenal stuff. But with Avonte Maddox,
I think you have to worry about sort of as you mentioned, what kind of shape he's in to play a game, an NFC Championship game against a team that's got very fast, a lot of weapons. They can go no huddle. Yeah. You catch him out there and he's played 3, 4, 5 snaps in a row and you can't sub. That would be a little bit difficult. So I do think conditioning might be the toe might be fine, but the conditioning might be more of an issue at this point to play.
Look, I know we'll get into the matchups. They play a lot of heavy fullback with Juszczyk, or Juice as he's called, 21 personnel. But look, they'll go with Jennings 3 wide. They're going to do that, and they have to just be smart about this. This is different than this is just a little bit unique because of the position that he plays. You got to be able to push that foot, the injured, the repaired toe, and be able to push it. But so we'll see. Now I love that he's. Let's put it this way: he's pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Now, is he 75% ready? Is he 90%? Is he 50? That'll ultimately decide. And because again, if they win, they've got to buy. If they got to look at that stuff. So, but that's it. The great thing is, we could also tell you that to start the week, guys are listed on last week that are not listed now as Linval Joseph with a calf injury. I don't believe that's why he only played 10 snaps. They got huge lead early. Giants were in 3 wide because they got behind early, so they just didn't need to play Joseph very much. Brandon Graham with illness, he's fine. Robert Quinn with a back, he's off the injury report. Now, it's good. We'll have to see what he looks like when he plays. He's just a shell of what he was last year when he was.
He is. He didn't even he played against the Giants, but not that much. He had, I don't remember how many snaps he had, but obviously another guy who had been out for quite a while. I guess at this point, if Robert Quinn makes like 2 plays for you, hey, you think, all right, because you might have been expecting 0 plays at this stage of the game.
Too bad. But
that's it for the yeah. That is it for the Eagles. So that's pretty good news for this time of the year.
Yeah,
certainly.
100%.
I'll take that.
Yep.
All right, we'll get to the 49ers injuries in a second. Well, I want to take a moment to talk about our friends at Flow Blend. Nate and the great people over at Flow Blend have created CBD pouches that are designed to boost energy, focus, and improve mood, but their main focus is to help people quit nicotine. If you don't believe me, just check out all the reviews customers are leaving telling their story on how Flow Blend helped them quit. It's on their website, flowblend.com. They've rated 4.8 out of 5 stars, and Flow Blend's offering a 20% off for all listeners who use our code Inside the Birds. All one word, lowercase or uppercase, whatever, not case sensitive, I don't think. It's Inside the Birds, just one word, at flowblend.com. Or all orders over $49.99 include free shipping, and all orders ship within 24 hours. And Flow Blend's also launching a new cinnamon haze flavor early next week. And all apple flavored pouches are 50% off until the stock runs out. So that's 2 great deals right there from Flow Blend. Quitting nicotine is tough. It really helps to have a tool that makes it easier. A person needs a shovel to dig or a hammer to build a house. Now you have Flow Blend to quit nicotine. All right, 49ers injuries. I like how you the injury report says one thing, and then what's coming out of their facility in San Jose says another thing, or Santa Clara. I know the stadium's in
Santa Clara, yeah, for sure.
But I think they practice in San Jose, right?
No,
no, it's Santa Clara.
San Jose Airport. Well, actually, it's the next town over. To be honest,
right?
With you. I fly to the airport, and it's like 10 minutes from there. But for those of you from the valley there, exit 237. No, it's the route's 237 off of the 101, I think. But anyway,
well, for people who make fun of the Jets and Giants for playing in New Jersey and not New York, I mean, you can spit to New York City from East Rutherford. You can't. You like Santa Clara is like an hour from San Francisco.
Without traffic, you can get there in 45 minutes. But it's never like that. People in California know it's the worst. Any time of day, and there's.
The nice thing saying without traffic on the Schuylkill, you can get through Philly in about 15 minutes. But good luck.
Well, okay, on that one, at least the only thing I like, not that I like it, the only thing I could deal with, at least they have 5 lanes pretty much on all major highways out there. Although they get all filled, it could be at noon or 11 a.m. They're still filled. But like the Schuylkill, I haven't gone on years. I don't have to. So is it? I take back roads, but is it still 2 lanes? I assume.
Amazingly, a highway that goes through a major city in America is only 2 lanes, and I can't figure that out.
I love the Blue Route, man. That was the best invention since 1 hour Martinizing.
Yeah, New York's got that too, though. Like the BQE, the Southern State, the Belt. Those are 2 lanes in many stretches too, and it's anyway. So let's talk about the injury situation with the Niners.
Sure.
So McCaffrey has had a calf injury, I think, since the last game. He's been nursing.
Yeah, he's a calf contusion. He got hurt. It's minor. It's a bruised calf.
Right.
what a contusion is. He's fine. He said he's 100% playing. There's no chance that he won't play. They're babying him this week. They're making sure what he did is he participated in the walkthrough. They just don't want him. Calf injuries, man, they're the worst. They could linger for weeks. I know it's just bruised, but they don't want to make it any worse. So we'll see if he does anything today, but they fully expect him to play. His backup, Elijah Mitchell, Mr. Closer, as I call him, because he's like the closer. He actually had more carries than McCaffrey last week. He has a groin injury. They expect him to play. Now, this is an interesting thing to watch here. Deebo Samuel, now he's getting some light work in. He re-injured the same left ankle, which was diagnosed as a high ankle many weeks ago. Again, he's going to play, and plus he's a running back in the backfield, in addition to being a receiver who gets moved around, who's their Z receiver. I'm interested to see, because of this, do they use him the same way? So we'll keep an eye on that. Garoppolo will not dress for the game. Shanahan said last week there was an outside chance he could be active, but he's not. He's just not ready yet. And their third DN, Charles Omenihu, who's a really good player, they got from Texas in the trade last year. He's got the legal issue, which they are going to let him play because they're going to let the legal process play out. He's got an oblique injury. In fact, he left the game and came back. He's a good player. He's a big dude who will play occasionally inside a nickel, but he's 6'6", who plays defensive. He's a good player. I for the life of me, I don't know what Nick Caserio, the GM of the Texans, was thinking. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. But off the injury report, and these are actually important, Jawan Jennings, the third receiver with an ankle injury. He'll play. Javon Kinlow's had severe knee problems. He had a very bad knee injury a couple of years ago. He's off the injury report for the first time in a while. And Samson Ebukam, you might remember him from the Rams.
I always thought he was a good player with the Rams.
He is. I don't know why they got rid of him. I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they didn't like him enough, but he is a starter, and he had an ankle injury. He's off the injury report. So the ones to watch for the game is McCaffrey. We know he's playing, but obviously it's a light bruise because it was a deep bruise. It would be hard to run. I've had a deep calf contusion. It's pain. Not good. So he must have a light.
Did it hurt your NFL career?
Yeah, but it hurt my tennis game. I actually played tennis.
Yikes.
Deebo Samuel with the left ankle. We're going to keep an eye on that one. That's
the ankle that kept him out a couple of games at the end of the year.
Yeah,
right?
In fact, this is crazy. He had a moderate MCL sprain and a high ankle in the same game. He missed week 8, then weeks 15, 16, and 17. In fact, he detailed it. The high ankle goes back. I guess it had surgery. The left ankle had surgery maybe in college or something. And he didn't talk about that, but they expect him to go. And then other than that, we mentioned this on the last show. Hassan Ridgeway, who was the third D tackle, former Eagle, he's out with a pectoral injury. He's on IR. Mosley, the best corner, he's out for the year with the ACL. He got hurt week 5. And they're not very deep at corner, folks, and we're getting into this matchup. We got some very interesting numbers. We kind of efforted some analytics people we know and give us some numbers here, which we could really use for these matchups, because I was like, why the hell are they giving up? Why do the Niners give so much production to receivers? Well, we've got the numbers and we kind of understand why there's a trend that I didn't know about. But when we give you the guys who have gotten them, you're starting to see a trend why the Niners struggle a little bit against receivers.
All right. Well, I think we should start getting into this matchup right now. What do you think?
Do it. Let's do it.
All right. First, go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games and Ocean Casino Resort. This football season, cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on a parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's first talk about this Eagles offense against this 49ers defense. This is going to be a whole different animal compared to what they saw from the Giants in the divisional round.
They're just against the run. No team, not only they're number 2 against the run, technically, they're number 1 in production giving up. They give up nothing to running backs out of the backfield, receiving yards, receptions. So the way it's explained to me is their ability to diagnose any run play to get downhill and to rally to the football is something like someone in scouting told me. It's something this guy said. This guy's been scouting a long time. He goes, "You've not seen anything like this." Greenlaw, a super Drake Greenlaw, who you'll see on Sunday, is super athletic. It's so underrated. Fred Warner's the best off the ball linebacker in football. In fact, I talked to Warner when he was a rookie. He'd never played middle linebacker before. He had a learner on the run that tells you how special the guy is. He's like the best middle linebacker in football and the best off the ball linebacker in football. He's unbelievable. Got a monster contract extension, and Al Shire, the other linebacker, is underrated. But they played mostly two linebackers, and they're front because they're long and athletic. Kinlaw is real long for former first round pick. We said earlier he's had a lot of injuries, but just a really good football player. And it's going to be hard. I'm so interested because the way you beat the Niners, the numbers show it. You should throw against them, but it's like you have to run at some point, right? And
I mean,
how
of
are they gonna do
course.
it?
I mean, I don't think if you're the Eagles, you're scared. I mean, you're going to do what you do
Sure.
and do what you do best. The 49ers play a lot of zone early, and then they'll play man on third down. That's what a lot of teams do, and they'll alternate between their zones, which is something that the Giants suddenly were doing. The Giants played some cover 2, they played some cover 3, and the Eagles had no issue with it. The one thing that's hard to reconcile about this Niners defense that I was trying to figure out, they're number 1 in total yards, number 2 in rushing, number 1 in points allowed, which normally when you're that good, you're usually a good situational team, but they're 16th in third down and 20th in red zone. So they're a little bit bend but don't break ish. You saw that with Dallas, which
Correct.
would move the ball but then not be able to punch it in there. But they are also, I believe, number 1 in interceptions. So they bend, and just when you think they're going to break, they wind up flipping the field with a timely interception. So there's a lot. I think you mentioned it. There's just a lot of guys, individuals. So they're a great team defense. But
Yes.
when you're looking for your areas to attack, which is the corners,
I got it.
we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
You know that to attack the corners, you got to be able to block it up. And usually Dallas Goedert's a guy you want to attack well, especially in zone. How often do we talk about zone? Got to hit Dallas Goedert. But with guys like you mentioned, the length of Greenlaw, the length and speed of Warner, and that safety who just came out of nowhere this year to really
Funga. Yeah.
He is amazing. It's going to be hard to hit that middle. The Niners want you to throw it in the middle of the field, and the Eagles like to work.
Well, there are voids in their zone defense. So here's what we have here. So they're heavy cover 2. They're not running the complete Seattle defense. I know that when Saleh came over, Robert Saleh, that's his roots. So Ryans runs a lot of cover 2, cover 3. Anytime there's an obvious situation, they're going to play more man. In fact, they play more man and nickel than the Eagles do. And Hufanga, so I looked in this. I'm like, well, why the hell? This guy's, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere, but he's a stud. So what happened was the reason why he dropped in the draft, he came out of USC, is he had significant injury problems. He broke the same collarbone twice. He had a shoulder injury, he had a concussion. I have a scouting report on him. He incredible at diagnosing. And he crowds the box and knifes in there. He's just really good at it. And you were talking about whether it's a pass defense or breaking it up or being in the right, he's incredibly smart. And not that maybe he makes up for the lack of athleticism for just being in the right place and just getting in there. And I love the way that they use him. And the guy who's come out of nowhere, talk about a guy I thought might have retired already. Maybe he's there because Kyle Shannon was with him 10 years ago. It was Tayshaun Gibson. This guy, he's really good.
I was shocked that he was still in the league when I saw that he was there. Yeah,
out of the blue, he's been great. George Odom doesn't. He's one of the best special teams players, coverage guys. I think a Pro Bowler. Now they have. See, here's the thing. The reason why they get beat is their corners don't have great. There's time speed. There's football speed. They don't have very good football speed. Javarius Ward, who the Chiefs didn't want. Ward has had a great training camp. He's had a good season. And Diamador Lenore, who got toasted last year, got his confidence back, and he's really improved. The thing is, they give up shot plays. But this is what our analytics guy said. He goes, if you really study, look at the guys who beat them. Guys 6'2" or bigger. DK Metcalf, 136 and 2 in the wild card round. Avonte Adams mauled them. Just on shot plays and run after the catch, 153 and 2 in week 17. They, I can't remember who was on him. Well, again, they play zone, and this was that crazy high scoring game where the Raiders quarterback, who's just not did anything, went off against them.
Right.
Juju Smith-Schuster is about 6'2". Mark, he had 7-124 and 1. MVS, Marquez, Valdez Scaling, 3-111. There are other big receivers. They have trouble with big physical receivers who leverage really well. And it's not like Ward's small, but they've given up production a lot. In fact, if you really look at they're ranked 29th in receptions, yards, touchdowns. They are major voids in the deep middle of their coverage. Tyreek Hill is one of the smaller receivers who beat them. Run after catch for over 40 yards for a touchdown. He also had a lot of zone voids on the short left and short right and run after the catch. So you have to find these, and I'm sure Sirianni and his staff have found them. I get it; they have a great defense, but they give up a ton of production to receivers. They give up nothing to running backs, very little to tight ends. Higbee got him for 10 for 73, but everything was short. Darren Waller, run after the catch, 3 for 72 and a touchdown. And Kelsey, 6 for 98. And Dalton Schultz did well against him. He had a touchdown. And the rookie tight end for the Cardinals, the second rounder of Colorado State, had a couple nice plays. So that you can get them a little bit of tight end with Goddard and receiver, but running backs are not good out of the backfield against them. You have to find voids in their zone coverage. You have to do it. And by the way, there's no question in my mind in nickel, when they play nickel, they go to man, as Avon told us, receivers like man. Because you can't tell me Devontae Smith can't beat those guys. And wait till you hear Torrey Smith talk about Devontae Smith on the show we did with him. Oh, telling you.
So for everything you just talked about, I really do think the Eagles are going to have a different philosophy than they had last week. I think they're going to be a lot more 11 personnel.
You called that right, by the way. That was a good call.
Thank you. I suspect that they will have Quez Watt. Last week, Quez and
that's the
Dak
one.
Pascal split 50-50. This week, I think Quez will get a lot more opportunities. And I think that they will come out throwing and trying to get, like they did last year against the 49ers early, they're going to try to get their speed on the outside matched up against Shavarius Ward and Diamador Lenore.
Okay, Watkins didn't score on it, but 91-yarder. Hurts threw as far as he could and then run after the catches for 91 yards. That's the guy. Hey, that's the guy. I should tell you, and Eagles know this, both teams know this, so many starters. If you look at who started in that game, I mean, it's just, it's comical. One of these guys was with the Eagles for a couple months. So here's the secondary that the Eagles faced last year. It's ridiculous for the Niners. Josh Norman, who was working, I saw some story, he signed with the Panthers late this season.
Yeah.
He's working in a coffee shop. The guy's a millionaire. Maybe he's just trying to, maybe he's just wanted to kill the time
and
work.
He's a different kind of cat, man.
Right. That's what the reporters were saying. Lenore, who got, I think it was Lenore who gave up that play. Jaquaski Tard, who became an Eagle. One of their linebackers is Marcel Harris. I don't even think he's on the team anymore. Warner and Greenlaw. I think Greenlaw was hurt that game, or maybe he was back. Let me see. He didn't play that game. Oh, Trey Sermon, by the way. Trey Sermon. He played for the Niners in that game. But what happened was they moved Ward to nickel now because K'Wan Williams was their nickel. Williams left. Jimmy Ward's he's a physical slot corner. It's more of he's a nickel. They'll move. It's not like he can't play on the outside because he used to be. It's not like he can't play back as safety, but he's a big nickel. He can move, and this he's been in the league a long time. A lot of injuries, but he's a really good football player. And I just feel like as we set this up, man, if they do like you said, if they go 11 personnel, which makes a ton of sense. Plus, you don't have to worry about bad weather, wind, or anything. I'm going heavy 11, and I'm going after it. Yeah, with these three great pass targets, I get that it's going to be hard to run. They'll try, but these coaches are kind of like Andy Reid sees it. When he sees 3 bad runs, he's done. We're throwing the football. This week, they got off to a great start after the first series. They're like, "Whoa, okay, let's keep going." Great decision. But I'm with you. I would be surprised if they don't spread them out.
I think that again, this is just me kind of trying to analyze it like I did last week. I would imagine that the Niners will try to play more cover 2 than cover 3. I think that they'll feel more confident in their ability to stop the run with a light box because they have really good, linebackers and front line than they will playing one safety deep and trying to hold up on the outside. You play one safety deep, you're not protecting your corners against those wide receivers. And they know they found out that against Seattle, as you mentioned, because DK got him down the line. Geno hit DK on the exact type of cover 1 type beater with one safety deep, right down the numbers, right? So you can do that with AJ Brown. You can do that with Devontae Smith. You can do it with Quez if you put him out there. I think the Niners are going to show respect for that and do their best to stop the run out of a cover 2 alignment, which I would think that they feel pretty comfortable doing, and then just doing their best to keep everything in front of them, much the way Jonathan Gannon likes to do.
AJ Brown went off against the Niners in week very late. What was it? It was like week 16 of 2021 when he's with the Titans. Now, I warn you, look who was out there. That game that he had was fantastic. It was 16 targets. It's like no one did anything else for the Titans that game. 16 targets, 11 for 145 and a touchdown, a 42-yarder catch. But here's who started. This tells you all you need to know. Some things have changed. Josh Norman, Ambry Thomas, who won dress, he doesn't play anymore. He's also hurt. He's out of the rotation. And Jaquiski Tart, I mean, yeah, that he abused them. Look who started, but hey, it counts. The guy who tipped me off with these big receivers, goes to tape, really shows that they get leveraged a lot despite their size. Usually, guys who are taller or bigger physically shouldn't get leveraged, but they got leveraged. And they're, in fact, these are the numbers that were sent to me, but I think they're actually more than that of guys with size who've done very well against them. They give up a ton of production. So to me, it's a receiver's game here, and we'll see if your premonition's right. I think you're nailing it here, but we'll see what they do. And now, if they play cover 2 like the Giants do and have a lighter box, one got less guy in there. Will the Eagles have some success versus the run? I doubt it, only because they're just no. Does anyone run well against them this season? Anyone
run well against the Niners?
Yeah,
that is a good question. I did not take a look at that. Like I said, they have they have number 1 rushing defense,
right? And they give up nothing production wise. It's
number 2 rushing defense. Yeah, they don't give up a lot. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me if they did a little disguise where they had a box safety making it look like cover 1, and then they sort of drifted to a cover 2 right at the snap to try to keep them in front. Try to make the Eagles pass, but think that they're passing underneath a cover 2 and not try to look deep. That's what I would try to do if I felt my safety. I don't know if D'Amico does that a lot, but I would try to do that. I do remember in the Cowboys game, I mean, he played, so he did do some real crazy stuff. He had was it Warner was covering CeeDee Lamb all the way down the seams? Like you talked about sometimes.
Yeah,
who get them?
Who is the broadcaster pointed that out? You're exactly right. Who the hell was it? It was a great visual. I could not, but yeah, like literally 40 yards down. Was it
Olsen? Maybe I forget who.
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah. It sounds right. And I was blown away. I cannot believe a guy could move like that at his size. I know Lamb's not a speedster, but still, to be able to do that, I thought was fascinating. What did Josh Jacobs do against them?
Well, you look that up. One of the fascinating things I found also from this 49ers defense, we know Nick Bosa had 18.5 sacks. We know he's probably going to be the defensive player of the year. The man has 43 career sacks, Adam. And remember, he missed almost an entire year, second year or third year with the ACL tear.
In 2020, yeah.
Right. He's only played 51 games. He has 43 sacks.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's the most bendy DM that probably in the NFL. He's so much of. And it's not a knock on his brother, Joey, but he's a better athlete. He's just a better football player. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, 17 for 69 and a touchdown, 4 for 26 in the pass game. 4.1 yards per carry on 17 carries. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, and he's a stop-start vision guy. See, but what I love about Sanders now, he's squeezing the hole well. He's not trying to break everything along. That's why he's become a better running back.
Right.
One more for you. I just studying the pass catch numbers, which are not very good for the opposing running backs, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. He's really coming on. I know he looked great last week.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's going to be a receiver game based on the numbers and based on the matchups. Shavarius Ward, remember the Chiefs didn't want him back. I know he's kind of had a breakout season. Great training camp. I know the Niners were like blown away by how good he was. They thought it was a great signing, but and Lenore's a guy. Look, their depth is poor at corner. You got to come out throwing against these guys. Then I love the D-line rotation. Kevin Givens, you might remember, Penn Stater, I believe, right?
Kevin Givens.
Yeah,
I should know that, but that's for some reason that name does not stick out to me.
Penn State, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I must have not been watching that year.
Yeah, he's had a lot of knee problems. He just came back. He's their third D tackle. T.Y. Gill, former Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Been on I don't know how many teams. And Kerry Hyder plays the end. Might you remember him? He's been on and off the roster. He's with Seattle, then Detroit before that. He's their fourth end. He's pretty athletic. They've got a nice DN rotation. The Drake Jackson, the rookie, doesn't play very much usually. And Jordan Willis, I remember him. He used to be with the Jets. He's a wide nine specialist. They play a ton of wide nine. They play probably more wide nine than anyone.
Right.
They're right up there because the D-line coach, Kusarek, used to be with Jim Schwartz. We had a report, so many years ago that he was like I know the Eagles wanted him, but he wanted to go to the Niners for some reason and not join Jim. I don't know why, but he's phenomenal. In fact, I wonder what happens if D'Amico Ryans gets a head coaching job. I wonder who will be their D coordinator.
Good question.
Oh, and we have to mention Eric Armstead and Kinlaw are two of the biggest, like the longest arms size-wise at D tackle. That's what when you got a guy at 6'6" like Armstead, actually 6'7", I think. He's 6'6", 6'7". Kinlaw may be 6'4"-ish, but his arms are super long. And then Menahu 6'6". I mean, geez.
And there have been some games this year where Jalen struggled with guys batting the ball down at scrimmage or getting their hands on the ball.
True.
So that is absolutely a little minor thing that could become major to watch for on Sunday. Getting back to Bosa and his 43 sacks in 51 games. Adam, how many guys in the history of the league do you think had at least 43 or more sacks in 51 games? Their first 51 games.
I know.
7. That's it. Look at this company. Reggie White with 63.5.
Hall of Famer.
Derek Thomas, Von Miller, Dwight Freeney, Alden Smith, Sean Merriman, and Nick Bosa. That's it.
Alden Smith. Oh my God, Nick Bosa. Yeah, Alden Smith, without the off the field issues, would have been a Hall of Famer.
He was unbelievable.
Unbelievable, right?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And he was 49er, right? He started with the 49ers.
Oh yeah. Revived his career with Dallas. But finishing this off, the big one is Bosa because he lines up more on the left side, and then they flip him. I mentioned this on the other show. In fact, the first series of the game, they flipped him. He can move inside and nickel if they want him to. He gets unbelievably low. Lane, when he lines up on Lane's side, this is going to be tougher because Thibodeau's not bendy at all. He's stiff, actually. He's just long, and he can run, but he's not bendy like Bosa.
Right.
This is for both guys because Lane and Mylott are tall. This is going to be tough. To me, this is a matchup for the Eagles. It's Bosa and handling them. If they handle them, they're going to be very successful. If they don't, the Eagles will not score 20 points. I'm just telling you. He's a major home run. Major.
Totally. All right. Well, the Eagles got some firepower on defense also that we need to talk about against this 49ers offense that has a lot of playmakers. So my initial thought, Adam, when you look at this, and kind of an extension of my thought in the last podcast, is that Jonathan Gannon did such a nice job being aggressive, playing tighter coverage against the Giants. I'd be shocked if he did that coming out of the game against the 49ers. I think I think we're going to see some free releases. I think we're going to see some cushion. And I think he's going to take the same philosophy. It doesn't matter if it's the championship game. He's going to make Brock Purdy march that Niner offense up and down the field incrementally with the Linc rocking and trying to be disturbing and them on a silent count and dare them not to make a mistake more than he's going to play up on Debo or Christian or anybody who's lined
I
up
agree.
there, Ayuk, and then get beat over the top. He's just, I can't see him doing that.
I heavy zone, first and second down or non-passing situations. They'll play some nickel, they'll play some man and nickel, but I but the thing is though, yes, they want to keep it in front of them, but you just can't keep giving free access against the better teams. Yeah, I know that it's a nickel. They like to nickel and dime and make you earn it. But the thing here is, though, their zone exchange has been so good. The handoff, carry, match, deliver have been so phenomenal most of the season. But this is Kyle Shanahan with Kyle Juszczyk. They play so much with him. He doesn't touch the ball very much, but he's super athletic. Fullback who played tight end at Harvard. The only reason why he plays fullback is because he's only 6'1.5". But look, you know what you're getting here. McGlinchey's the guy, from what we're told. He's the guy that you feel like you should be able to beat. Not the most athletic guy, not the most bendy guy. He'll give up pressures, whether you go for an overload or you move guys around or faster than him, like obviously Son Reddick. That's the guy you want to beat here. And Brock Purdy, by the way, didn't have a great game. He was fidgety. He was rolling. He started moving for sometimes not for no reason. Doesn't have a strong arm, but he's super accurate. And they create such a picture with three-step motion for him. Not that it's ever easy. It's like, I wish Matt Canada, the OC for the Steelers, would watch this, because he doesn't help his quarterback. Makes it so tough for them with those individual routes. Kyle Shanahan is a master of creating space, and this is how he wins. But this is different. And you said it, and Torrey Smith said it on our show this week, RITB TV. There's nothing like the Linc with this noise. This is not Seattle's noise. It's different. It's nasty. The fans are going to get after it, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah. I think that what the 49ers will do well against the Eagles defense is move the ball. I think that they can stay ahead of the sticks for the most part and set up makeable third downs. If they can get set up 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, watch out, because they got so many weapons. And again, I think there'll be a real, test for Gannon's defense. But if you remember last year's game, it started off slow for San Francisco. Javon Hargrave had a monster game last year. He owned the left guard, whose name is escaping me at the moment, and it might be a different one from last year to this year. Javon Hargrave and Cox were tough on that interior line.
Yeah, Aaron Banks starts now. He was a bench player. He's really good. He's really second-year player. He's really improved.
Yeah, well, those guys I still think have to be tempo setters because, again, they have one of the best left tackles in the game, and McGlinchey can be had, but he's still better than Evan Neal.
He's awesome. No, you mean McGlinchey?
Yeah, I said McGlinchey. I said Neal's Williams is great, and McGlinchey might not be awesome, but he's better than Evan Neal.
I agree. Yes. You're 1,000% right. No doubt about it. Brendell's been a good story. He's sort of a journeyman center who can be beat. Well, I'm interested to see what. Oh, and the other thing is, we should mention this. We've talked about it, but just to give context. Yes, the Eagles don't run a ton of stunts, but they're one of the best percentage success rate on stunts. You could get Spencer Burford, the right guard. They should be able to win with stunts. They have not faced a team that's so good at stunning. Got to give, and I don't know whose decision was, whether it's Jeremiah Washburn or the D-line coach,
Tracy Rocker.
Tracy Rocker, as Keith Jackson used to say. Whoever, or obviously Gannon, but man, they are really good at it. Whoever's teaching them, kudos, man. They deserve a raise.
Definitely. I think most people would agree the guys you really fear are McCaffrey and Kittle. I mean, not that Deebo Samuel isn't feared, but he's not going to beat them down with the numbers. He's going to beat them short area and then turn it up.
Oh, run after
the
field.
Run after catch. Right. But Kittle and McCaffrey are the guys who can really threaten the Eagles from a linebacker and safety coverage standpoint. And again, keep them in really makeable third down scenarios, and then be the third down weapons that team will need. That is, to me, the key to them is, can you contain them on third down?
Ayuk is their shot play receiver. He's phenomenal. He is their X, more or less. Jennings is their third receiver. He's a big slot who could run after the catch pretty well. But you're right. McCaffrey's the guy out of the backfield who you're definitely worried about, because the Eagles are not great at covering running backs, teams, we said this throughout the season. I don't know why the running backs haven't gotten the Bailey because not many teams have done this. Aaron Jones got him pretty well, but that's a concern. Kittle, two things he does well is wide receivers, tight end screens. And then what happens is when 1 and 2 are taken, Kittle will be wide open because they forget about him. Defenses forget about him. He's wide open. He could fly. His straight line speed is phenomenal. We know what happened 2 years ago through 2020 season when he killed them 15 for 15 for $180, whatever the hell it was, and a touchdown. Although somehow the Eagles won that Sunday night game, but he has come on strong. He had a very poor first half of the season, but he's really come on here. And they got so many weapons here. The good thing is Eagles are loaded on defense. This is a phenomenal matchup. This is another one where you go, wow, who's going to win here? This side of the football, who's going to win that side? Let's see.
Watch the wheel routes, folks, because Saquon Barkley was open on quite a few last game, but Danny Jones didn't have a chance to hit him. But this is a whole different kind of offense. Yep. And if Brock Purdy's got a few seconds, just watch that play because it could be something that we're talking about after the game. All right, we're going to take a break real quick to hear from our friends at Sky Motor Cars. First, we want to tell you to also check out phlsportsnation.com. They are enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto, so check them out at phlsportsnation.com. And now we'll hear from our friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schiller, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
And if you hop in there to Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. You will get a great deal. All right, the time is upon us.
All right.
NFC Championship. Right. Make the prediction.
Okay, one question before we get out here. Am I allowed to change it on Sunday?
You are, because I'm okay. Wrestling with this thing back and forth too.
All right, Chiefs fans hate me already, so I'm just gonna say it. I've got it. Not 49ers 20, the Eagles 24.
Oh, all right. I like that.
They cursed me out this week. Yeah, it was kind of ugly because I'm picking Bengals, but they found out about it. So
nice. I've got the Eagles 27, the Niners 21.
Oh, higher. Okay, you're always Mr. Higher score. Okay.
Yes, I am. I forgot to mention that the line on the game was at Bet Rivers. Eagles are favored by 2.5 with a 46.5 over under.
Stayed pretty steady, all week. In fact, the Bengals line has moved like crazy, but the Eagles, I just think it's the difference between the two quarterbacks. Hurts is playing so well. I know this is a really tough matchup. I have such a belief in the offensive coaches. They have such better talent now. I cannot wait for this game. This is like, if I'm an Eagles fan, you should be nervous because this is a great team. The Niners are a great team, but you should have a high trust in both sides of the ball as coaches, not just one. And this is going to be a fun game, folks. Can't wait.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Big thanks, as always, to all of you who've been listening to us all throughout the years. We appreciate you flying with us inside the birds.